How's it going, everyone? Sethphir here, and we are back with another Tower of Fantasy video. Today we are going to be talking about the best team compositions in the game. We're going to cover a few categories, including the best DPS team, the best tank team, the best healing team, and finally some special categories. The best team for the Bygone Phantasm PVE ladder, the best team for the Wormhole PVE ladder, and the best possible PvP team. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's talk about the best DPS team in the game first. We know that Nemesis is going to be available as the first limited character starting on day 1, so you will have the ability to access her, so we're going to include her in this list, and that's going to change a lot of the meta. So the first character in the best DPS team is going to be Sethphir. Sethphir is a dual pistol wielding lightning character that has very high damage output when the target's shield is broken. This is one of the highest DPS in the game, especially when you get to the high star levels, unlocking her extra abilities. So that is going to be the first character. The second is going to be our special limited character, Nemesis. Nemesis is a support weapon, but we only need 2 DPS weapons to trigger the DPS category roll bonus. And she is also a lightning weapon, as well as having Volt Resonance, which will synergize very well with Sethphir. She is very, very powerful with her electrodes supporting DPS and has the ability to heal up her team and power them up as well. The third and final piece to the best DPS team is King. King is a flamed scythe weapon, and he has some of the strongest shield breaking potential in the game, getting several bonuses to breaking shields, as well as special effects that trigger dealing a lot of damage when you finally break that shield. So that is going to be your best possible output. Once again, that is King, Sethphir, and Nemesis, and this will be a staple for a lot of the game. So these are going to be very, very strong characters to target. The next team we're going to talk about is the best tanking team. The best tanking team consists of Meryl first. She is one of the few tank weapons in the game, and you need 2 to get into the tanking category. She is an ice claymore and has very powerful stamina draining moves, as well as shields and a lot of DPS to support that. She breaks the enemy shields very, very quickly and is a strong utility character. Just be careful when you use her ultimate because you can lock your teammates out. The next character in the best tank setup is Huma. Huma is the fire shield / axe combo. She can switch her form, and she is a flame type weapon. She has powerful charge generating abilities as well as shattering abilities, and she can do a lot with low star value, so even if you have 1 copy, she's very good. And as you increase her strength later on, she gets a lot of bonuses to damage reduction, as well as dishing out a lot of damage with the axe form, so she can be very, very powerful. The final character in this composition is going to be King. King, once again, same reasoning as the DPS comp. He has the ability to break shields very easy, and that is your goal as a tank player, is to instantly break that shield so that your entire team can do constant damage. And you're going to see a lot of success with this character because his shield breaking character, boosted by the tank roll bonus, is going to be insane. You're going to be melting shields. So he's definitely a good option to go for. So the best tanking team is going to be Meryl, Huma, and King. Now we're going to jump into the best healing team. The best healing team in the game before would have been with Coco Reader, but Nemesis will take Coco Reader's place now. So Nemesis is first on this list. Nemesis being the Volt weapon that's going to power up a lot of other weapons. Not just Volt weapons, but really any weapon in the game. Her electrodes put out a ton of DPS and can bolster attack sources, so this is going to be a very, very strong character to have. The next character in the healing setup is going to be Zero. Zero has the Negating Cube, which is a fire elemental mage. He has very high charge generating moves, but more importantly, he grants massive shields and damage power-ups as well as healing to your party. So this character is very, very strong in bolstering your allies' damage, including yourself. The final piece of this puzzle is going to be Sethphir. Sethphir is a strong DPS weapon that will synergize with Nemesis, and since you already have 2 healing weapons with Nemesis and Zero activated, you will have the healing bonus, so you might as well be dishing out boosted damage from Nemesis with the lightning element, and this will add a lot of charge value as well, generating you more ultimates that you can use to heal your team and top your team off completely. Now we have the specialty categories, so we're going to talk about Bygone Phantasm. What is the best team for Bygone Phantasm? There are some options here, but in my opinion, the best team is going to be that DPS team that we talked about first, Sethphir, Nemesis, and King. And the reason is King has the ability to break shields very easy. He also is a DPS weapon technically. So with Sethphir and him on your team, you're going to trigger the DPS bonus, and you are going to allow yourself to deal a lot of damage. But the best thing about this is that there are a lot of enemies in the Bygone Phantasm that require you to break their shields, and they constantly regenerate. So King gets a lot of value by triggering his special effects when he breaks shields, as well as dealing bolstered damage to them. So that's going to be a very, very strong option in the Bygone Phantasm. Another character to consider that is more free to play, very friendly, is going to be NA. NA is actually very strong, and you can mix it up, maybe take out one of the other characters and put it in a composition. NA is the ice hammer in the tank category, but the best part about this weapon is the ability to simply hold down left click. You are uninterruptible, and you can charge up a massive move which will knock them in the air and hit them multiple times. It does crazy damage for an SR weapon and sometimes surpasses SSR weapons. It's a little bit wild. Sometimes when I'm stuck in the Bygone Phantasm on a floor, I will bust out NA and use it to clear the floor, especially if frost weapons are powered up or the pummeler is powered up specifically for the weapon, because Bygone Phantasm does have weapon-specific bonuses to certain floors. So it'll say, oh, this character's weapon effect is boosted by 50%, this one's boosted by 25%. So you can take note of that and mix and match your weapons depending on what floor you're on, but be careful not to invest too many resources in too many weapons, because you will spread yourself thin, you will run out of gold, you will run out of weapon augment materials, and that's not a good place to be at. All right, next we'll go on to the second PVE ladder leaderboard, which is going to be the Wormhole. What is the best team for Wormhole? Wormhole is a series of small levels leading up to a boss. It's kind of like a gauntlet. You have to remain at the same HP you had from the previous level and use that for the next level. So it is going to be imperative that you have characters that can either regenerate HP or somehow help you along that process. There are some power-ups that make it easier, but really having a good team comp makes a big difference. The best Wormhole team is going to start with Nemesis. Her ability to deal damage and bolster effects is going to be unmatched, and she will also provide you with healing, which you will need inside of the level. And then we were going to follow that up once again with Sethphir. So this is going to be that DPS, hallmark team who's going to add big damage for you, as well as another Volt element for you to synergize off of with Sethphir. And then finally, once again, King, who is going to break the shields of the opponents, but also provide you that second DPS weapon for the DPS bonus. But the best part about this King here is there's a small sub note. There is a matrix, I believe, for him, and also a special trait that you can unlock when you boost his rapport or whatever by giving him gifts that will allow you to generate HP when you kill a certain amount of enemies, which is incredibly useful in the Wormhole and can help you get far beyond the leaderboard where other people would normally be stuck by simply running out of health. So do keep that in mind. That's going to be your best team for that. And finally, we will talk about PvP. The best team for PvP can vary slightly per player, as this is going to be skill preference and also just player preference, so your skill cap's going to matter here. But we're going to start out with 2 bases, which is going to be Coco Reader. Coco Reader is incredibly powerful in PvP with a infinite combo as long as you have stamina to kind of stun lock your opponent as long as they're not using a CC reducing ability to get out of that combo. So she has very, very powerful long range attacks as well as strong healing capability. And the next character is going to be Zero. So this is going to be the two staples, Coco and Zero. Zero has a lot of damage as well as shielding capabilities, which are not reduced in PvP. Healing is reduced by 50%, but shielding is not at all. So getting through his shield is very hard to do. He also does a surprising amount of damage that kind of auto homes and heat seeks on the target, and it makes him a very easy noob-friendly weapon to play. The final piece of this best team comp is going to depend on the player. Personally, I like Samir, but I think she has a very high skill cap because her combo game is very strong, but it requires you to read the opponent and follow up where you predict the opponent is going to go. If you can do that, you will deal a lot of damage, but if you don't, then you're going to drop your combo and you're going to be open to punishment from the enemy player. The next best weapon is going to be Meryl. Meryl is very, very strong in PvP. She has a lot of stamina draining moves as well as invulnerabilities and shields, which is very, very good in PvP. And she also has the ability to lock opponents down in an ice arena that traps them from escaping. So that can be a very powerful option. And then Nemesis is also a very viable and strong option. Her electrodes can trigger and shock a lot of DPS onto the opponent, as well as providing you with healing and buffing resources. But this character really shines at 6 stars, and since everybody gets a 6-star version in PvP, it's all equalized. You're going to be able to spawn 2 electrodes at the same time, which are these little orb summon pets that will constantly deal damage, and they're going to pretty much delete the opponent. So this is going to be a very powerful PvP weapon. And the final PvP weapon that we're going to talk about is Huma. Huma is one of the strongest PvP weapons as well. She has the ability to switch her shield to an axe, which does tons of stamina draining attacks and a lot of DPS and mobility. But more importantly, her discharge shield, skill will allow the shield to expand into the axe and create a fire field around you, which is going to take up pretty much the majority of the platform in PvP. And every second that they're standing in that, they're just going to take massive damage. So if they're in that area, they're not going to have a good time. So this is a very aggressive weapon that has a lot of potential in PvP. Alright, that's going to be it for these best team comps and tier lists here. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that it helped you. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, and let me know what you thought of it. Appreciate everyone watching this video, and we will catch you in the next one.